War crimes. As someone with weird preferences with food, I'm no stranger to them. And as a master of war crimes, I can see... Jesus Christ, they break the Geneva Convention a lot in these games. And hey, I have too much time to spend on reading the Geneva Convention and overanalyzing these games, so why not? To start this off, we need to look at the very beginning, when people nuked the ice caps and killed everyone. This is a war crime. Also, add another war crime because the floods that followed killed the entire human population except for a few dozen or so people. Obviously, a lot of civilians got caught up in that. That is illegal. And no, nothing that happened in Alterna originally counts as a war crime. There was no conflict here, and even the final blow that killed the rest of the people off was just a dumb attempted escape. But it's 12,000 years later and the Great Turf War is live, with Inklings and Octarians fighting for the land that is drastically reducing. What crimes have been committed here? I don't know. I'm willing to bet at least 1 or 2 war crimes have been committed on both sides, but we just don't know enough about what happened to point fingers. But Splatoon 1 is here with its story mode, and Cuttlefish immediately gets a point for child soldiers. Under the humanitarian law, children under the age of 15 are prohibited to fight in war. And because our player character is 14 in-game, Ingopolis is gonna have to go without power for another year. The player character wouldn't get punished for fighting under the age of 15, but they do get a point for upgrading their weapons, as modifications to your weapons are illegal. Specifically, the ink tank upgrades, as increasing ink capacity is basically the Splatoon equivalent of increasing your magazine, which is illegal. Octavio fires back with mass coercion on his soldiers, which is not allowed at all. And would you look at that, they're also child soldiers. And also, the great Octo weapons are made out of dead Octarians, and using dead bodies for this shit is a war crime. I did not forget about this till the day before the video was supposed to go up and got reminded of it from a random YouTube comment. Thank you. I gotta redo all the fucking audio. Halfway through the campaign, Cuttlefish gets kidnapped, but as far as we know, nothing really happens to him. Prisoners of war are in a weird gray area where you can take one, but you can't really do anything to them. Finally, considering that Cuttlefish is very clearly not a part of the actual government, he cannot take Octavio captive, even if he is a war criminal. Splatoon returns with its legacy of war crimes in Splatoon 2, and goddammit, another child soldier. Plus, Octavio gets another 20 years on his sentence as he used mind control to coerce Callie onto his side. But considering all of Sheldon's weapons are in development and he is using us as a drone to get data on how they function, these weapons have not been approved for combat and fall under the category of a war crime. For all we know, these things could be leaking gasoline into the ink tanks and poisoning the Octo Troopers, all because they are not ready to be used on the field. Grizz is up next before that one, and he hasn't done that much so far. Child soldiers and modified weapons, big whoop. Some would call genocide, but look, they attack first and we defend. Also, in their culture, it's honorable and normal to just go die to some Inklings. We're not destroying them and their lifestyle, we're embracing it. Cool, cool. Tartar! Oh my god. So you already have mass kidnapping, but then he's fucking with these guys mentally, trying to give them hopes of escape, but most of them die. And sanitation would fall under the category of chemical warfare. Not to mention, he uses the sludge to coerce Agent 3 into taking his side and modified their gun to remove its limiter. And this is all leading up to a genocide plot intended on wiping out Inklings. Grizz 2 doesn't actually do anything all that interesting compared to the rest. He doesn't fuck with you mentally, he doesn't use children as fighting drones. In fact, his goal is literally the same as Tartar. Genocide. But he does get another point for torture as he breaks the big no-no rule from earlier where you can't do anything to the prisoner of war. No, Grizz. Bad. Also, chemical warfare. That goo is not normal, it's literally just Tartar. But now we reach the end with the final totals. Humanity themselves have the creation of nuclear weaponry and the killing of civilians, but let's be real here, they did some more stuff we just don't know about. The Squid Geek Splatoon altogether have 7 war crimes, with Cuttlefish's child soldiers and taking off Octavio captive, Agent 3's modifications of their weapons, Marie's child soldiers and taking of Octavio captive, Sheldon's unapproved weapons, and his own weapon modifications. Octavio gets 4 with mass coercion on his army of child soldiers, coercion on Callie, and the desecration of remains. Grizz gets child soldiers and modified weapons, but Grizz 2 adds to the list with chemical warfare, torture, and genocide. Tartar. Tartar mentally fucks with you, committed mass kidnapping, engaged in chemical warfare, used coercion on a soldier, modified a gun, and attempted genocide. The Squidbeak Splatoon are the only ones that beat Tartar's level, and that's combining the war crimes of every single member. Combining everyone together, it adds up to 22 war crimes and a collective 440 years in jail, assuming everyone gets the minimum sentence of 20 years. But that's my conclusion, with Tartar having the most as well as every other war crime listed. Also, there was a lot of reading about laws I don't know that much about, so feel free to correct me if I messed up anything here, because I definitely did. But for now, goodbye!